The stars were dying. At least that was how it looked to Captain Hyunwoo Kim as he stared through the viewport of the Defiant Echo. Red lights flickered across 3 distant worlds, burning under the assault of Vakreen warships. He had seen this before. Too many times. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's systems. His crew moved with practiced efficiency, their faces lit by the blue glow of their screens. They had been running for so long that silence had become their natural state. Lieutenant Bora Shin broke the silence. Her voice was soft but clear. "Captain, we're receiving a distress signal. It's coming from the Thriss outpost on Kalar 7. Hyunwoo didn't turn from the viewport. "How many ships?" "2 destroyers. Maybe 3 frigates." Bora paused. "The Thriss don't have much time." Hyunwoo closed his eyes. The Thriss. The insect-like species that built their homes in massive hives and spoke in clicking sounds that most translators struggled with. They had been fighting the Vakreen for months now, losing every battle. "We're just 1 ship," Chief Engineer Tae Yang Park said from his station. His hands never stopped moving across his console. "We can't take on 5 Vakreen vessels." "We don't need to take them all," Hyunwoo said. He turned to face his crew. "We just need to hurt them enough to make them think twice." Bora looked at him with concern in her eyes. She was young, younger than most of the crew. She still believed they could make a difference. Hyunwoo envied that. "Set course for Kalar 7, he ordered. "Stealth mode. Let's see if we can surprise them." The Defiant Echo moved through space like a ghost. Human ships had always been good at hiding. It was one of the few advantages they had left. The old stealth technology that humanity had developed thousands of years ago still worked better than anything the other species had created. As they approached Kalar 7, Hyunwoo could see the battle clearly. The Thriss outpost was a small station orbiting a gray moon. It was surrounded by debris and escape pods. The Vakreen destroyers circled it like predators, firing their weapons in steady bursts. "They're not even trying to negotiate," Bora whispered. "They're just destroying everything." "That's what the Vakreen do," Hyunwoo said. His voice was hard. "They don't want allies. They want slaves." Tae Yang looked up from his screens. "I've got a firing solution on the lead destroyer. Their shields are focused forward. If we hit them from behind, we might punch through." "Do it," Hyunwoo said. The Defiant Echo's weapons charged. Hyunwoo felt the familiar vibration through the deck. Then they fired. 3 missiles streaked through the darkness. They hit the Vakreen destroyer's engines in a chain of bright explosions. The ship lurched forward, spinning out of control. "Target destroyed," Bora reported. "But the other ships are turning toward us." "Full power to engines," Hyunwoo ordered. "Get us out of here." The Defiant Echo dove away from the battle. Vakreen weapons fire chased them, bright lines of energy cutting through space. One shot grazed their shields, making the whole ship shake. "Shields at 60%, Tae Yang called out. "We can't take many more hits like that." But Hyunwoo was watching the tactical display. The Vakreen ships were fast, but they were also predictable. They moved in formation, following their training exactly. "Bora, take us through that debris field," he said, pointing at the scattered wreckage of destroyed Thriss ships. "Tight turns. Don't make it easy for them." Bora's fingers flew across her controls. The Defiant Echo twisted and turned, weaving between chunks of metal and ice. The Vakreen ships followed, but their larger size made them clumsy. One frigate clipped a piece of debris and veered off course. "Another firing solution," Hyunwoo said. "The second destroyer, same trick." Tae Yang didn't waste time arguing. The missiles launched again. This time they hit the destroyer's weapon systems. The ship didn't explode, but it went dark, drifting powerless in the void. "That's 2 down," Bora said. There was excitement in her voice now. "And 3 very angry frigates still chasing us," Hyunwoo reminded her. "Time to go." The Defiant Echo jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the Vakreen ships behind. For a moment, the bridge was silent again. Then Tae Yang started laughing. "We did it," he said. "We actually did it." Hyunwoo didn't share his enthusiasm. They had won a small victory, yes. But the war was far from over. The Vakreen would send more ships. They always did. "Captain," Bora said, "we're receiving a transmission. It's from the Thriss outpost. They want to know who we are." Hyunwoo hesitated. For 3,000 years, humanity had stayed hidden. They had become ghosts, whispers in the dark corners of the galaxy. Revealing themselves now would change everything, but he was tired of hiding. "Tell them we're human," he said. Bo-Ra's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "Tell them," Hyunwoo repeated. Bo-Ra sent the message. For a long moment, there was no response. Then the reply came back. It was in the Thriss language translated by the ship's computer. "Humans? But humans are extinct. They are legends. Stories we tell our young." Bo-Ra looked at Hyunwoo, waiting for him to respond. He leaned forward in his chair. "Tell them this," he said. "Legends don't fight. Legends don't bleed. But we do. And we're here to help." The message was sent. This time, the response came faster. "Admiral Kurthax wishes to speak with you. He wants to meet." Hyunwoo stood up. "Set course for their coordinates. And Bo-Ra, start preparing a full report on everything we know about the Vakreen. If the Thriss want our help, they're going to get it." As the Defiant Echo changed course, Hyunwoo looked back at the viewport. The galaxy had forgotten about humanity. They had been gone so long that they had become myths. But myths could return. Ghosts could become real again. And when they did, the galaxy would remember why humans were worth. Threshold Station floated in the darkness like a corpse. Once it had been a busy trading hub where hundreds of species met to exchange goods and ideas. Now its halls were empty, its lights were dead, and its docking bays were filled with the silence of abandonment. Hyunwoo walked through one of those empty halls, his boots echoing on the metal floor. Bo-Ra walked beside him, her scanner casting a blue light on the walls. Behind them, 6 armed crew members kept watch. "This place gives me chills," Bo-Ra said quietly. "It feels like a graveyard." "It is," Hyunwoo replied. "Humans built this station 2,000 years ago. We died here when the Great Collapse came." They reached a large chamber at the center of the station. Emergency lights flickered on as they entered, revealing a circular room with a high ceiling. Around the edges stood representatives from a dozen different species, Thriss, Lumara, Vesh, and others. All of them were watching the humans with expressions that ranged from curiosity to suspicion. Admiral Kurthax stepped forward. The Thriss admiral was tall and covered in dark chitin that gleamed in the dim light. His forearms moved in a gesture that Bo-Ra's translator interpreted as a formal greeting. "Captain Kim," Kurthax clicked, "you have brought others of your kind." Hyunwoo nodded toward another human who had just arrived. Commander Jae-Sung-yoon entered the chamber with his own security team. His ship, the Unbroken Resolve, was larger and better armed than the Defiant Echo. Jae-Sung was also younger, more aggressive and less patient with diplomacy. "Admiral," Jae-Sung said, barely glancing at Kurthax before turning to Hyunwoo. "We need to talk privately." "Later," Hyunwoo said firmly. "First, we need to hear what everyone has to say." A crystalline being stepped forward, light refracting through her translucent body in rainbow patterns. This was Envoy Solaris of the Lumara. Her voice resonated like musical chimes. "I remember the old stories," Solaris said. "Before you vanished, humans fought my people. You killed thousands of Lumara in the resource wars. Why should we trust you now?" The room went quiet. Hyunwoo felt the weight of history pressing down on him. He had read about those wars in the archives. Mistakes made by humans who were long dead. "We can't change the past," he said. "Those humans are gone. We're what's left. And right now the Vakreen are killing all of us. We can fight each other or we can fight them." "Pretty words," said a rough voice. Scoutmaster Reckon of the Vesh pushed through the crowd. The Vesh were nomadic warriors covered in scales and scars. Reckon carried 3 weapons openly. "But words don't win wars. Strength does. Prove you're strong enough to be allies." Before Hyunwoo could respond, another human entered the chamber. Dr. Yoonji Choi was older than most of the crew, her hair gray and her face lined with years of study. She carried a datapad filled with information she had spent decades collecting. "I have records," Yoonji announced. "Complete records of everything humanity did in this sector. The good and the bad. If we're going to work together, everyone should know the truth." She activated a holographic display. Images flickered to life, showing human colonies, trade agreements, and yes, the wars. The resource wars where humans and Lumara had fought over mining rights. The border conflicts where human ships had clashed with Vesh raiders. We weren't perfect, Yunji said quietly. We made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. But we also tried to make peace. We built hospitals. We shared technology. We taught your children alongside ours in these very halls. Solaris studied the images. Her crystalline form seemed to soften slightly. I did not know about the hospitals. Most people don't, Yunji replied. History remembers the wars. It forgets the peace. Kirthax moved to the center of the room. Enough of the past. We need to plan for the future. The Vakreen are coming. They have already taken 6 systems. Soon they will control the entire sector. Then we hit them before they can consolidate, Jae-sung said. Fast strikes. Guerrilla warfare. Make them afraid to spread out. No, Hyunwoo said. We need coordination. If we all attack separately, they'll pick us off one by one. Jae-sung turned on him. You want to sit in meetings while they destroy more worlds? We should be fighting. Fighting smart, Hyunwoo shot back. Not just fighting. The 2 human commanders stared at each other. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Then alarms blared throughout the station. Bora checked her scanner. Explosion in the lower levels. Someone sabotaged the power core. Reckon drew his weapons. Vakreen infiltrator. Has to be. Everyone to the ships, Hyunwoo ordered. Now! The chamber erupted into chaos. Species that had been arguing moments before were now running for their lives. The station shuddered as another explosion rocked through it. Captain! Bora shouted over the noise. The docking bay doors are sealed. We're trapped. Hyunwoo made a decision. Taeyang, are you on the echo? His engineer's voice crackled over the comm. Yes, sir. But I can't open the doors from here. Then I'll do it manually, Hyunwoo said. He turned to Bora. Get everyone to the ships. I'll meet you there. Captain, no, that's an order, Lieutenant. Bora's face showed her anguish, but she nodded. She started herding the other species toward the docking bay. Hyunwoo ran in the opposite direction toward the station's control center. The corridors were filled with smoke and flickering lights. He could feel the heat from the fires below. He reached the control room and started working on the door controls. His fingers moved quickly across the ancient human interface. The system was old but still functional. The docking bay doors began to open. Hyunwoo, get out of there. Taeyang's voice was urgent. The whole station is going to blow in 2 minutes. Hyunwoo ran. He sprinted through the smoke-filled corridors, his lungs burning. Behind him, he could hear the groaning of metal as the station began to tear itself apart. He burst into the docking bay just as the last ships were preparing to leave. The Defiant Echo's ramp was still down. Bora stood at the top, waving frantically. Hyunwoo jumped aboard. The ramp closed behind him and the ship lifted off. Through the viewport, he watched Threshold Station explode. The ancient human monument, one of the last remnants of their golden age, disappeared in a ball of fire, but everyone had escaped. Every single person from the meeting was alive. Kirthax's voice came over the comm channel. Captain Kim, you stayed behind to save us all. That's what allies do, Hyunwoo said simply. There was a long pause. Then Reckon spoke, his rough voice carrying respect. You proved your strength, human. The Vesh will fight beside you. Solaris added her voice. The Lumara as well. Perhaps it is time to let old wounds heal. Even Jae-sung grudgingly agreed. Fine, we work together. But we do it my way. Our way, Hyunwoo corrected. This is an alliance. We all have a say. As the fleet of mixed species ships moved away from the burning wreckage of Threshold Station, Hyunwoo allowed himself a small smile. It was fragile. It was imperfect. But it was real. They had an alliance, and that meant they had a chance. Corvin Prime hung in space like a fortress. The Vakreen had chosen this system well. 3 moons provided natural defense positions, and the asteroid belt gave them endless raw materials. But most importantly, this was where they built their warships. Hyunwoo studied the holographic display on the Defiant Echo's bridge. The shipyard was massive, stretching for hundreds of kilometers. Dozens of vessels were in various stages of construction. If they could destroy this place, they would cripple the Vakreen war machine for months. If they could destroy it. That was a big if. Defenses? He asked. Bora pulled up another display. 50 defense platforms, 20 patrol ships, and that's just what we can see. There could be more hidden in the asteroid field. We don't have enough ships for a direct assault, Jae-sung said over the comm. His face appeared on the screen, looking frustrated. Even with the entire Alliance fleet, we'd be outnumbered 3-1. Then we don't fight directly, said a new voice. Operative Da-Eun Kang stepped onto the bridge. She was slim and quiet, the kind of person who could disappear in a crowd. That made her perfect for intelligence work. What do you have in mind? Hyunwoo asked. Da-Eun smiled. I infiltrate their command ship, plant false intelligence, make them think we're attacking their mining operations on the far side of the system. While they send ships to defend that, we hit the shipyard. That's suicide, Jae-sung said. You'll never make it out alive. Probably not, Da-Eun agreed. But it'll work. Hyunwoo looked at her for a long moment. She was serious. She was volunteering to die for this mission. No, he said. We'll find another way. There is no other way, Da-Eun insisted. You know that. Someone has to do this. Major Soo-min Han entered the bridge, her combat armor still bearing scorch marks from their last battle. If she's going in, my Marines go with her. We'll plant charges on the command ship's reactor. Even if the diversion doesn't work, we can still hurt them. Hyunwoo wanted to argue. He wanted to find a plan that didn't involve sending his people to certain death. But he had been a soldier long enough to know the truth. Sometimes there was no safe option. Fine, he said quietly. But we do everything we can to get you out. This isn't a suicide mission. It's a dangerous mission with an exit strategy. Da-Eun nodded. I'll take the exit strategy. The plan was set in motion 3 hours later. The Alliance fleet split into 2 groups. The larger group, led by Kirthax and Reckon, moved to attack the listening post at the edge of the system. They made a lot of noise, fired a lot of weapons, and drew attention. Meanwhile, Da-Eun and Soo-min's team took a small shuttle toward the command ship. It was an old Vakreen transport that they had captured and modified. It looked damaged, like it was limping home from a battle. The Vakreen patrol ships let them through. After all, who would suspect their own vessel? Da-Eun sat in the pilot's seat, her hands steady on the controls. In the back, Soo-min and 5 Marines checked their weapons and equipment. They all knew the odds. They went anyway. Docking with the command ship in 2 minutes, Da-Eun reported. Soo-min stood up. Marines, remember the mission. We plant the charges, we get down to the intelligence center, and we extract, fast and quiet. The shuttle docked. The airlock opened. And they were inside enemy territory. The Vakreen command ship was enormous. Corridors stretched in every direction, filled with crew members going about their duties. Soo-min's team moved, through the ship like shadows, avoiding patrols and security cameras. They split up. Da-Eun headed for the intelligence center while Soo-min took her Marines toward the reactor. Both groups had 30 minutes before the main fleet began their attack on the shipyard. Da-Eun slipped into the intelligence center by posing as a maintenance worker. Her disguise was good, and her forged credentials passed the security check. Once inside, she accessed the main computer system and began uploading false data. Mining operation under attack. Multiple ships detected. Send reinforcements immediately. She watched as the Vakreen officers received the alert. They didn't question it. Why would they? It came from their own systems. 20 patrol ships peeled away from the shipyard, racing toward the false emergency. Da-Eun allowed herself a small smile. It was working. Then alarms started blaring. Soo-min's voice crackled over the comm. They found us, we're blown. Charges are planted, but we're taking fire. Da-Eun ran. She abandoned her disguise and pulled out her weapon, shooting her way through the corridors. Behind her, Vakreen soldiers gave chase. She met up with Soo-min's team at the extraction point. 3 of the Marines were wounded. 1 wasn't moving at all. Go, Soo-min shouted. Get to the shuttle. They fought their way back to the docking bay. Every corridor was filled with enemies. They lost another Marine, then another. By the time they reached the shuttle, only Soo-min, Da-Eun, and 1 Marine were left alive. They launched just as the charges detonated. The command ship's reactor went critical, tearing the massive vessel apart from the inside. Defiant Echo, we're clear, Da-Eun reported. Beginning extraction run. Hyunwoo's voice came back immediately. Copy that. The main attack is starting now. Hold on. Through the shuttle's viewport, Daun watched as the Alliance fleet emerged from hiding. Human ships, Thriss cruisers, Lumara fighters, and Vesh raiders all attacking together. They hit the shipyard hard. With the command ship destroyed and 20 patrol ships chasing a false alarm, the defenses were in chaos. The Alliance pressed their advantage. Taeyang's voice came over the general comm. Multiple explosions detected. The shipyard's primary structures are collapsing. Jae-sung sounded almost happy. We did it. We actually did it. But Hyunwoo was counting the cost. Half their ships had been destroyed or badly damaged. Hundreds of people were dead. And they had only delayed the Vakrin, not defeated them. All ships begin withdrawal, he ordered. We're leaving. As the fleet limped away from Corvin Prime, leaving the burning shipyard behind, Hyunwoo stood alone on the bridge. Bora approached him carefully. We won, she said quietly. Did we? Hyunwoo asked. Look at what it cost us. Bora looked at the casualty reports on her screen. Her face fell. So many gone. War always costs too much, Hyunwoo said. But we fight anyway, because the alternative is worse. A new signal appeared on their sensors. It was coming from deep space, from the direction of old human territory. Captain, Bora said, her voice rising with excitement. I'm picking up a signal. It's using old human codes. Very old. Hyunwoo straightened. Can you decode it? Bora worked her console. It's a beacon, automated. It's been broadcasting for thousands of years. She paused. Captain, it's marking the location of an old military cache. Weapons, ships, everything we need. For the first time in weeks, Hyunwoo felt something close to hope. Set course, he said. Let's see what our ancestors left for us. The Ashenvale Nebula was beautiful and deadly. Purple and blue clouds of gas stretched for light years, hiding stars and secrets in equal measure. Somewhere in this vast fog, humanity had hidden its last hope. The Defiant Echo drifted slowly through the nebula, its sensors scanning for the beacon's source. Behind it came the rest of the Alliance fleet, battered but still fighting. Contact, Bora announced. I'm reading multiple ships, big ones. They're in some kind of dock formation. As they emerged from a particularly thick cloud, Hyunwoo saw it. A massive structure hung in space, half hidden by the nebula. It was a shipyard, but not like the Vakrin facility. This was human, built in the old style with clean lines and functional beauty. And docked to it were dozens of warships. Battlecruisers, carriers, destroyers, all of them dark and silent, waiting. How long have they been here? Jae-sung asked over the comm. His voice was full of awe. 3,000 years, said a new voice. A ship emerged from behind the structure. It was larger than any vessel in the Alliance fleet, bristling with weapons and armor, and on its hull was a name in human letters. Eternal Vigil. This is Admiral Young-ho Lee of the Eternal Vigil, the voice continued. Identify yourself. Hyunwoo felt his heart racing. Another human fleet. After all this time, they weren't alone. This is Captain Hyunwoo Kim of the Defiant Echo. We're human survivors from the outer colonies. We've come seeking the old caches. There was a long pause. Then the Admiral spoke again. Permission to dock granted. We have much to discuss. An hour later, Hyunwoo stood in the Eternal Vigil's conference room. Admiral Young-ho Lee was an older man with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much war. Around the table sat other human officers, along with Kirthax, Solaris, and Reckon. When Earth fell, Young-ho began. Some of us saw it coming. We prepared. We built hidden bases, stocked them with weapons and supplies, and we waited. For 3,000 years, we've been waiting for humanity to need us again. And now we do, Hyunwoo said. The Vakrin are coming. They know about us now. They'll send everything they have to wipe us out. Young-ho nodded. We've been monitoring their communications. Grand Executor Veshkarn has redirected his entire armada to this sector. Over 500 warships. The room went silent. 500 ships. It was impossible. We can't fight that many, Jae-sung said flatly. We can with these, Young-ho said. He activated a holographic display showing the dormant warships. 42 capital ships, all equipped with weapons technology that the Vakrin have never seen. We need 2 weeks to bring them all online. We don't have 2 weeks, Bora said, checking her datapad. According to our intelligence, the Vakreen fleet will arrive in 9 days. Young Ho's expression didn't change. Then we work faster. The next 9 days were chaos. Every person in the Alliance worked around the clock. Human engineers like Tae Yang swarmed over the ancient warships, replacing power cores and updating systems. Thrist technicians installed modern shields. Lumara specialists upgraded the weapons. Hyunwoo barely slept. He moved from ship to ship, checking progress and solving problems. Bora worked beside him, decoding ancient human tactical manuals and teaching the Alliance crews how to use them. On the 4th day, a young human pilot approached Hyunwoo. Her name was Jiwoo Nam, and she had been flying fighters since she was 16. She saluted sharply. "Sir, we found something in one of the hangars. Old interceptors. Human designs. They're fast." Hyunwoo followed her to the hangar. Inside were rows of sleek fighters, smaller and faster than anything currently in use. They looked dangerous even sitting still. "Can you fly them?" he asked. Jiwoo grinned. "Sir, I was born to fly these." On the 7th day, a Thriss religious leader named Prophet Miral asked to address the fleet. Young Ho agreed, and every screen in the base showed the elderly Thriss as he spoke. "For generations we told stories of humans." Miral clicked, his voice resonating through the translators. "We said they were ghosts who would return when darkness came. Many thought these were just stories. But here you stand, real, fighting beside us. This is not coincidence. This is destiny." Hyunwoo watched as crews from every species stopped their work to listen. Miral's words were simple but powerful. "The Vakreen believe in strength alone," Miral continued. "But we believe in something stronger. We believe in each other. And that belief will carry us through the storm." When he finished, there was silence. Then someone started clapping. Others joined. Soon the entire base echoed with the sound of determination. On the 9th day, the Vakreen arrived. Alarms blared throughout the base. Sensors showed the enemy fleet emerging from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the nebula. 500 ships, just as predicted. "All ships to battle stations," Young Ho ordered. His voice was calm, but Hyunwoo could see the tension in his shoulders. "We only got 30 ships operational," Tae Yang reported. "The others need more time." 30 will have to be enough," Hyunwoo said. The Alliance fleet formed up. Ancient human battle cruisers took position alongside Thriss carriers and Lumara destroyers. Vesh raiders spread out in a screen, ready to harass the enemy flanks. Jiwoo led a squadron of fighters, her voice crackling over the comm. "All interceptors ready. Just point us at them." The Vakreen fleet advanced. They moved slowly, confidently. Why wouldn't they? They had overwhelming numbers. "They're launching planet-killer weapons," Bora said, her voice tight with fear. "They're not trying to defeat us. They're trying to destroy everything." Hyunwoo looked at Young Ho. The Admiral met his gaze and nodded. "All ships," Young Ho said. "This is our moment. This is where we prove that humanity is more than a memory. Fire everything." The Alliance fleet opened fire. Ancient human weapons, dormant for 3,000 years, came to life. Beams of energy lanced across space. Missiles streaked toward the enemy. And in the middle of it all, Jiwoo's interceptors danced between the capital ships, targeting the planet-killer weapons. The Vakreen had never seen weapons like these. Their shields, designed to stop modern energy fire, were less effective against the old human technology. Ships that should have been impervious took damage. Formations that should have been unbreakable began to falter. "Target their flagship," Hyunwoo ordered. "If we can take out Veshikarn, the rest might break." But the battle was just beginning, and they were still outnumbered 500 to 30. Hyunwoo gripped the arms of his chair. Around him, his crew worked with desperate efficiency. Outside, people were dying, ships were exploding, and the storm that would decide the future of the galaxy raged on. Space burned with 1,000 fires. Ships exploded in silent fury, their deaths marked only by spreading clouds of debris and light. The Battle of Ashenvale had become a grinding meat grinder, and both sides were bleeding. The Defiant Echo shook as another enemy shot hit their shields. Hyunwoo grabbed his chair to stay upright. "Shields at 20%, Tae Yang called out. "We can't take much more." "Then we don't get hit," Hyunwoo said. "Bora, evasive pattern delta." The ship twisted away from incoming fire. Around them, the battle raged. Jiwoo's interceptor squadron was engaging 3 times their number, their pilots flying with reckless courage. Jae-sung's unbroken resolve was locked in combat with 2 Vakreen destroyers, trading shots at close range. But they were losing. Slowly, inevitably, they were being overwhelmed. "Captain," Bora said urgently, "the Eternal Vigil is moving. Admiral Young Ho is taking his ship directly at the Vakreen flagship." Hyun Woo pulled up the tactical display. The massive human battlecruiser was indeed charging straight toward Veshikarn's command ship, ignoring the enemy vessels trying to block its path. Young Ho's voice came over the command channel. "All ships concentrate fire on the flagship. We're making a corridor. Sumin, your Marines are cleared for boarding action." Sumin's response was immediate. "Copy that, Admiral. Marines are ready." The Alliance fleet converged. Every ship that could still fire aimed at the vessels protecting Veshikarn's flagship. The combined barrage was devastating. 3 Vakreen cruisers exploded. 2 more went dark, drifting powerless. The Eternal Vigil smashed through the gap, its armor scorched but intact. It pulled alongside the flagship and boarding tubes extended, latching onto the Vakreen hull like metal tentacles. "Marines away," Sumin reported. "Breaching now." Hyunwoo wished he could see what was happening inside that ship. Sumin and her Marines were fighting through corridors, battling trained Vakreen soldiers in close quarters. It was brutal work. "More enemy ships incoming," Bora warned. "They're trying to cut off the Eternal Vigil." "Not on my watch," Jiwoo said over the comm. Her squadron dove toward the new threats, missiles launching from their wings. But one of the interceptors took a direct hit. It spun out of control and exploded. Then another, and another. "Jiwoo, pull back!" Hyunwoo ordered. "Negative, Captain. We're holding them off. You get those Marines home." Her ship took a hit. Then another. Hyunwoo watched helplessly as Jiwoo's interceptor began to break apart. "It's been an honor," Jiwoo said. Her voice was calm. "Tell my mother I flew like she taught me." Then her ship exploded, taking 2 Vakreen fighters with it. Hyunwoo closed his eyes for just a moment. Then he opened them again. There would be time to mourn later. "If they survived, we're at the bridge," Sumin reported. Her voice was strained. "Taking heavy resistance. We've lost half our team." "Keep pushing," Young-ho ordered. An explosion rocked the defiant Echo. This time, the shields failed completely. "Hull breach on Deck 3, Tae-yang shouted. "We're venting atmosphere." "Seal it," Hyunwoo said. "I can't. The damage is too severe. I need to do it manually." Hyunwoo knew what that meant. The section was exposed to space. Whoever went down there wouldn't be coming back. "I'll do it," Tae-yang said. He was already moving toward the door. "Tae-yang, wait. Someone has to, Captain. Might as well be me. I've kept this old ship running long enough. Time for one last repair." He left the bridge. Hyunwoo wanted to order him back, but they both knew there was no other choice. 5 minutes later, the hull breach sealed. The defiant Echo stabilized, but Tae-yang's comm went silent. Hyunwoo stood alone on his bridge, surrounded by his crew, and felt the weight of every life he had failed to save. "We're on the flagship bridge," Sumin reported. "Veshikarn is here. He's—" The comm filled with the sound of weapons fire, shouting, explosions, then silence. "Sumin?" Hyunwoo called. "Sumin, report." Static. Nothing but static. Then finally, Sumin's voice. Weak but alive. "Veshikarn is dead. Repeat, enemy commander is dead. We're done here." The Vakreen fleet hesitated. Without their leader, their perfect formation began to crack. Ships started pulling back, uncertain what to do. "All ships, press the attack," Young-ho ordered. "Don't give them time to regroup." The Alliance surged forward. Human ships, Thriss carriers, Lumara destroyers and Vesh raiders all attacking together. The Vakreen tried to retreat, but they were already broken. Some ships kept fighting. Most fled. The battle was over. Hyunwoo sat in his chair and felt nothing. No joy, no relief, just exhaustion. Bora approached him carefully. "Captain, we won." "Did we?" he asked. He gestured at the tactical display showing all the destroyed ships. So many Alliance vessels were gone, so many people dead. "Look at the cost." "Yes," Bora said firmly. "Yes, we won." Because now the free worlds have a chance. Because humanity is no longer a whisper. Because of what we did here, the galaxy will remember us. Hyunwoo looked at her. She was right, of course. They had won. It didn't feel like winning, but it was. Over the next few weeks, the sector began to rebuild. The Vakreen hegemony, leaderless and defeated, fractured into smaller factions. Some tried to continue the war. Most sued for peace. The alliance held. Humans, Thriss, Lumara, Vesh, and dozens of other species worked together to repair the damage. They built new stations, established trade routes, and created something that had never existed before, a true multi-species government. Hyunwoo was promoted to admiral. He didn't want the job, but Young-ho insisted. Someone had to coordinate the reconstruction, and Hyunwoo had proven he could make the hard decisions. Bo-Ra established the first interspecies academy. Students from every world came to learn, not just about war, but about peace, about understanding each other. Sumin recovered from her wounds. She trained a new generation of Marines, teaching them that strength without compassion was just cruelty. 3 years after the battle, Hyunwoo stood in the same chamber where they had first met at Threshold Station. It had been rebuilt, better than before. Representatives from dozens of species gathered here now, making decisions together. Kirthax approached him. The Thriss Admiral moved slower now, his chitin marked with honorable scars. "Do you remember when we first met?" Kirthax clicked. "I thought humans were legends, ghost stories." "And now?" Hyunwoo asked. "Now I know better. You are not ghosts, you are just people. Flawed, stubborn, brave people who fight for what they believe in, just like the rest of us." Hyunwoo smiled. "That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about humanity." That night, Hyunwoo stood at a memorial wall. It listed the names of everyone who had died in the war. Taeyang Park, Jiwoo Nam, thousands of others. Bo-Ra found him there. She didn't say anything, just stood beside him. "I keep thinking," Hyunwoo said quietly, "about why we came back. We didn't return to save the galaxy. We returned because we had nowhere else to go. We were lost, and we were desperate, and we just happened to show up when people needed help." "Does the reason matter?" Bo-Ra asked. "We showed up, we fought, we bled, and because of that everyone has a future." Hyunwoo touched one of the names on the wall. "I suppose you're right. Sometimes the greatest heroes are just ordinary people who did what needed to be done." "Exactly," Bo-Ra said. "And humanity is full of ordinary people." They stood together in silence, two humans among many species, no longer whispers in the dark, but voices in the light. The galaxy had changed, and they had changed with it. Somewhere in the void, new ships were being built. New alliances were being formed, and humanity, after 3,000 years of silence, was finally home again. Not as conquerors, not as saviors, just as people who refused to be forgotten. And sometimes that was enough.